Jim?
What's up, everybody? It's Jim, and it's finally time to do a show review for The Mandalorian Season 3. Please let me know your thoughts on this season of The Mandalorian in the comment section below. Did it live up to my expectations, or did I not like it at all? Well, let's find out together in this review. As you can see, I've got the Mandalorian himself next to me, as well as two Grogus, because one isn't enough. This is going to be a no spoiler and spoiler review, and I'll start off with the no spoilers for the good of The Mandalorian Season 3. So for the good, I thought the story of the season was very good. It's probably my least favourite story of the 3 Mandalorian seasons though. However, I still really enjoyed it. The characters are of course amazing and easily my favourite parts of The Mandalorian. You've of course got the Mandalorian himself, played by Pedro Pascal, who always does an excellent performance as a Mandalorian, and this season is no exception. You've of course got Grogu, who in my opinion is the cutest thing ever in the TV series, and he definitely did not disappoint in this season. You've also got Bo-Katan returning, and to be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of her in Mandalorian Season 2, but I thought she was used brilliantly in this season. I also enjoyed seeing all the other Mandalorians in the series. They all look really, really great, and they all have their moments to shine. I've always loved the relationship between Mando and Grogu, and this season, they definitely did it very well. I loved every time they were in a scene together, and when they were interacting with one another. I also thought the action in this season was great. It was very thrilling and very exciting. One of my favourite parts of The Mandalorian has always been the music and score, and this season it did not disappoint. I was absolutely blown away by it. It really fits the theme and the tone of this series. I think the cinematography is awesome, and I think the lighting is awesome as well. There are so many moments that look great in this series, and what I also think is great is the CGI. I also really like the set pieces in this show as well. In my opinion, this season of The Mandalorian ended on a very satisfying note, and the ending / epilogue was easily my favourite part of this season. I could watch the ending of this season over and over again. Now I'll talk about the good with spoilers ahead. So like I said, spoilers, and if you've not seen The Mandalorian Season 3, don't watch this part until you have. So I'll first of all talk about Moff Gideon. Great to see him in this season of The Mandalorian, even though I don't think he was in this season enough. I loved seeing all the references to Star Wars Rebels. I wish there was more of that in this season. Seeing Mandalore was awesome, and seeing the Mythosaur was awesome as well. However, I wish the Mythosaur was in this season more. In the final episode, he was hardly in it. It was only one scene of that final episode. In my opinion, it just felt like wasted potential. But I also really loved that Bo-Katan was leading the Mandalorians. That was awesome to see. She got what she wanted in the end. To me, the cutest thing in this season was Grogu in the IG-12 droid. I wish it didn't get destroyed in the final episode, or it did, and Grogu got a new set of armor that helps him use the Force. I hope if there's another season of Mandalorian, Grogu will have a droid that he can control again. It was fantastic to see Grogu using the Force, especially in the final episode. It actually got to me quite a bit emotionally. Another part that really got to me in the final episode was the fact that Din Djarin, aka the Mandalorian, adopts Grogu. That's really well to say for the good, for no spoilers and spoilers. And now let's talk about the bad for The Mandalorian Season 3. We'll start off with the bad, no spoilers. To me, this season unfortunately had a lot of questionable decisions being made. The ideas in the season were awesome, but not executed to its potential. If this season was executed better, it could have been the best season of The Mandalorian. Also, the biggest problem in this whole Mandalorian series is filler episodes. This season unfortunately has some. However, one of the filler episodes I actually thought was a great episode of The Mandalorian. I also think that some parts of the show happen way too quickly, and some parts of the show take too long to get there. Now I'll talk about the bad with spoilers ahead. I want to mention about Jack Black, Lizzo, and Christopher Lloyd's character in this season. To me, they didn't fit in the world of Star Wars. Jack Black, in my opinion, is one of the funniest people alive. Lizzo, I think she's okay, I don't mind her music. And Christopher Lloyd, I think he's great. But to me, they were just playing themselves, and it just took me out of the season, unfortunately. I think the CGI overall for the season is fantastic. However, I don't think it was fantastic on the droids. To me, the droids just reminded me too much of how they looked in the prequels, and I wasn't a fan of how they looked then. I also think that Bo-Katan got the Darksaber way too easily. It gets destroyed in the final episode, and to me, that was very unsatisfying. I don't think the Darksaber was used very well in this season. The final thing I mentioned about the bad is Moff Gideon's clones. What was that all about? It was very unnecessary, in my opinion. It was just a wasted idea because he gets destroyed quite easily in the final episode. Now I'll move on to the verdict of The Mandalorian Season 3, and I recommend this show to people who have Disney Plus, and for people who like the previous Mandalorian seasons, and also for people who like Star Wars as a whole. I thought this was a very good season of The Mandalorian. Wasn't great, but in my opinion, very, very close to being, and I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10. To me, the first two seasons of The Mandalorian were amazing. This one definitely wasn't up to that standard, but I still had a very good time with it. I was a little bit disappointed with the season. I was hoping it was going to be better than 7.5, but that's just my opinion as of right now. Before we conclude this video, I'll now share with you my ranking of the episodes of the season of The Mandalorian, and also ranking the seasons as a whole. Coming in at last place for my least favourite chapter of this season of The Mandalorian is Chapter 22, Guns for Hire, which I'd give a 6 out of 10. My number 7 is Chapter 19, The Covert, which I'd give a 6.5 out of 10. My number 6 is Chapter 17, The Apostate, which I'd give a 7.5 out of 10. My number 5 is Chapter 18, The Mines of Mandalore, which I'd give an 8 out of 10. My number 4 is Chapter 20, The Foundling, which I'd also give an 8 out of 10. My number 3 is Chapter 24, The Return, which I give an 8.5 out of 10. My second favourite chapter of the season is Chapter 21, The Pirate, which I give a 9 out of 10. And my favourite chapter of this Mandalorian season is Chapter 23, The Spies, which I give a 9.5 out of 10. It was close to being a perfect episode. Definitely my top 3 episodes of The Mandalorian. Now let's quickly rank the seasons of The Mandalorian. My number 3 is Season 3, which, like I said, I give a 7.5 out of 10. My second favourite season of The Mandalorian is Season 2, which I'd give a 9. And my favourite season of The Mandalorian is still the first one, which I'd also give a 9 out of 10. That's it for this video, and again, you can let me know your thoughts on this Mandalorian season or The Mandalorian as a whole. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. I appreciate you watching. Until next time, this is the way. I have spoken, and ciao.